Thank you very much, Madam Chair. And I want to thank all our witnesses for talking about the potential for outdoor recreation. And I want to begin when I was chair of this committee and we started talking about the potential for recreation. What I was really stunned by was how the framework of laws governing the various natural resource agencies just hadn't kept up with the times. And it was not as if somebody at one of these agencies got up in the morning and said, I want to spend my day being rotten to people who are involved in skiing. But the problem was that the laws were written for a time really of the last century. I think that's the most charitable thing you can say. And so after listening to folks at home and some of the organizations you all work with, I've introduced a bill called Recreation, Not Red Tape. And the idea is to modernize the system so as to get more people outdoors more quickly. And two of the provisions I think relate directly to some of what I've heard this morning. The first is we ought to require all agency permits and passes to be made available online. And I have just heard stories that just like curdle your blood about how people get up in the middle of the night to wait in some kind of line, and after they're done with that line, they go on to some other kind of line. So the availability of online pass sales has been shown to increase the number of passes that are actually sold. And there's a pilot project going on in our part of the world to test out the online sales. I think we're going to hear more about that. But to me, that ought to be non-negotiable. You ought to be able to get all your passes online. The second provision that Senator Gardner also has an interest in, we're going to see if we can conscript Senator Daines into this too, is a provision to retain all ski area permit fees collected by the agencies. The way it would work is instead of sending the money raised by ski area permit fees to the Treasury, the money would stay with the agencies to use for things like maintenance projects, visitor amenities, and processing permits. So the fee visitors already pay would go back to maintaining the very mountaintops they were collected on. So the question for you, Mr. Bonar, is how would the ski area permit fix, the provision that is in the Recreation Not Red Tape bill now, how would that help ski areas make the improvements to ski infrastructure, and how would that end up benefiting the public?
Senator Wyden, thank you for the question. The Forest Service simply right now does not have the bandwidth or the staff to review ski resort proposals. We need to replace old lifts, old infrastructure. We need to make other improvements within our ski area permit areas. And the Forest Service right now, because most of their funding, or so much of their funding, is now used for fighting fires, they simply don't have the staff to do that.
I appreciate your making a plug for the bill Senator Crapo and I have to stop fire borrowing. Senator Murkowski and Senator Cantwell and Senator Daines were all involved in the plot on that. But go ahead, I interrupted you.
Oh, that's okay. So, you know, we see the fee retention as being crucial for us to be able to, you know, invest money and be able to move forward on these critical needs. You know, right now we have, as I said in my statement, we have many ski resorts that need to replace old ski lifts and aging infrastructure in other ways. And you know, it's critical that we are able to make those improvements for safety reasons, and also because we're seeing increased visitation year-round at all the resorts, and it's really important that we're able to move forward on those projects by increasing the funding.
So you would support the provision in the bill strongly?
Yes, I think all the ski resorts would, because of this backlog of projects.
Well, I can just tell you, in the Pacific Northwest, no new projects are being considered by the Forest Service. We've highlighted the example of Mount Hood Meadows, and I know you touched on it as well. And I think the point really is that unless we move to sort of update the recreation policies for the times, I think we are going to see more and more of these challenges where there is gridlock on permits. People can't get them online. These are common sense, bipartisan type ideas. I thank you, Madam Chair, and I thank our witnesses, and sorry to be in and out this morning. I think that what the chair is working on is an extremely important area, and we appreciate your input.
Thank you,
Madam
Senator.
Chair.